Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the severe lack of content lately, but most of all, I want to welcome you back to Diablo 3 and this patch 2.3.0, the latest patch which brings upon Season 4, and a slew of changes to crafting and a wonderful new feature. It's not quite the Roderick Cube, but we do get a cube back nonetheless in Kanai's cube, and today that's what we're going to be looking at. Now, I didn't get a chance to really look at the PTR much, so I haven't done this in advance. So this is kind of a recording of first-time impressions and also a recording of what the event is like. Since these are generally one-time events, since it's a additional crafting feature, I'll be throwing this up as just kind of a crafting corner. This is the ruins of Sescheron and how to get Kanai's cube, basically going through the quest, and this is kind of recorded for posterity. Now, I say it's generally a one-time event. That's really not exactly true now that there's seasons, because a lot of things that you could only do one time, such as leveling up your crafters, has now been changed to something that happens seasonally. You can only do it once per season, but you make a new character and you have to level up your crafters again, because seasons start you off fresh. But since I'm going to put this off onto a crafting corner, I'm going to talk real quick about some of the changes that did occur to crafting. And primarily, a big change is that a lot of the crafting materials have been turned down to a single type of crafting material. You may remember there were different types of materials based on which level you were at. If you were in the vanilla game, levels 1 through 60, you got a different set of materials compared to levels 61 through 70. Well, that's all been consolidated. You will now be getting things like Forgotten Souls, Veiled Crystals, and all that early in the game. So you will be getting all of those no matter what level you're at. So it consolidates crafting a bit and makes it a bit easier. Now items that you get early in the game will be useful later in the game, and you don't have to go back into earlier levels with different characters to try and say craft earlier items as well. So that's quite nice. Another change to crafting is that, well, let's go ahead and go to all. Is that there are new crafting materials. So if we go down to kind of the lower items, you'll see they've also consolidated what a lot of the costs are. It doesn't cost a lot for some of the lower items. But some of the higher end items, as we go up and up and up, are going to require more and more materials. You'll also notice that one of the things that are not required are Forgotten Souls. So the legendary materials that you once needed to craft legendary items, you no longer need for a lot of the earlier legendary items. As you can see here, they're not required. Now, for later items, you are going to need some of these specific crafting materials. Now, this is something they experimented with previously in another patch, where there were items that were dropped from monsters throughout the world that allowed you to craft different set pieces and things like that. This is a little bit different. Though those were kind of hard to find items that existed on every monster. These new crafting materials now exist as part of the new part of the bounty system that was added in Reaper of Souls. So if we go in here, you've got different acts, and each act has a bounty chest. These bounty chests will now give you these new crafting materials based on what difficulty you're on. The chance of these new materials dropping increases with each subsequent difficulty. Sorry, I keep going into the wrong screen here. There's also a change to the bonus caches at the for an act. The bonus caches will now basically, instead of just getting more experience or more shards, what you'll get is an extra cache. So you normally get one cache for doing the bounties. Now you'll get two caches. You get the regular bounty cache and then an additional cache that will have crafting materials, and specifically these very specific crafting materials. So that means there's a total of 5 different crafting materials that you can get now. One's for acts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And those are what you'll be getting or be making these with. So it's a lot easier to get them. They're not really rare. They are easy to find, and you can easily get the ones you want by knowing which acts dropped which materials. Now, a key note about doing these bounties and these bonus bounties that I forgot to mention, I'm kind of splicing this in after the fact, is that whenever you perform a bonus bounty, unlike before, you'll notice there's not 2 of them. There used to be 2. Now there's only 1. But unlike before, where they only changed with each new game, or well, they actually changed. I believe it was once a day, and then but you still got 2 every time you start a new game. In this case, you get 1, and when you complete the 1, you will get another one. It moves. So if you complete this one here at Act 5, it will move randomly to a different act. You will then be able to do the next one. So now with Bounties, with this patch, you want to make sure that you do the bonus one first and then follow it. That way you're constantly getting the additional materials you need for the cube. In case you're curious why you should care about the new area, the Ruins of Sescheron, or in fact the artifact you find there, Kanai's Cube, I've go ahead and going to show you now what's available before I show you the entirety of obtaining it. So Kanai's Cube is in fact another crafter that you get, just in cube shape. You don't have to level it up or anything like that. It's an interesting mix of, say, being a crafter in this game and being like the Heraldric Cube from Diablo 2. So if you're wondering what you can do with this thing, it thankfully has a book. You don't have to go looking things up. Gone are the days back when D2 came out where people had to go out and try and find all this information, and thankfully so. Back then it was far worse because finding that kind of information was a lot harder without the advent of Google. But now we have Google. Still, it's nice to know that everything is contained here within the game. So we can take a look at exactly what can you do. The primary effect of Kanai's Cube is this: the Archive of Rasha, which allows you to extract legendary powers. You take an item, a legendary with a special power, you put it into the cube, and of course it says it can't be transmuted, whatever. But let's say you put that into the cube, as well as one of each of the new crafting materials that I will talk about here in a bit. These are all from each of the acts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can get one from each bounty. And you also add 5 Death Breaths. So once you add the legendary, you add one of each. And these are easy to get, obviously. Death Breaths are not terribly hard to come by. You only need 5. You only need one of each. And then what happens is you extract the power. And when you do that, you actually can take a legendary power from an item that you have and give it to your character. You can affix 3 different types of legendary powers to your character. One from a weapon, one from any piece of armor, and one from any piece of jewelry. So what this means is you can have a legendary power from an item without needing that item equipped. One of the most useful, of course, the Royal Ring of Grandeur. Most people go with that. Most people don't really have many options because it allows them to get the kind of pieces that they want. Now you could take this Royal Ring of Grandeur, for example, put it in here, and if I had the materials, I'd put them all in here, and I'd hit the transmute button, and then lo and behold, I would now have here in this list the Royal Ring of Grandeur. So I could go here, click on the jewelry powers that you obtained, and I could click on, well, let's see, it's in here somewhere, I am sure. There it is. Ring of Royal Grandeur. You can click on that, and you can equip it, and there you have it. You can use it. On your character sheet, when you've actually equipped a power, you can see here under Kanai's power, it will tell you what your 3 affixes are. So if you are tired of using the furnace and want to use a new different type of weapon, you can take the furnace, put it in here, take the furnace's power, and then have a different weapon of your choosing. You could do the same with the Royal Ring of Grandeur or any other ring that you see here. And again, same with armor. There are some exceptions. There are certain things you can't take the powers from, and it'll be obvious because they won't be in the list, for one, and for two, it won't let you do the transmute. Now, beyond that, one of the important things to know about Kanai's Cube and extracting powers, legendary powers, is that you will always get the maximum capability of a legendary power when you extract it. So when you're equipping it to your character, it will always be at its maximum potential. What this means is you can use items like this Skull Grasp, for example. It rolled a 301. If I look at the stats, we can see that that's incredibly low. It is only 1 point above the minimum, and the maximum is 400. I might want to say, take this item and transmute it in my cube to give it to my character in order to get the maximum, because if I do it that way, I will always get the 400%. So this is a way to say, take the power from a legendary item. Maybe your legendary item rolled poorly and you don't like the stat. You could take it, put it on your character, and always get the maximum. Now you also have a couple other options regarding this cube and legendary powers. One is the Law of Cool. I suppose Rule of Cool was a bit too much of an obvious nod there, but here you can reforge legendary items. This one's a bit more expensive. You take the legendary items and then 5 of each of the new crafting materials, and you also need 50 Forgotten Souls. This is where Forgotten Souls is really going now. Since the Forgotten Souls have been taken off of a lot of normal crafting, you can use them now in the cube, and that's part of it is, as you can see, why it's so expensive. This will allow you to take any legendary item and completely re-roll its stats. Now, here's the thing about that. When you do it, it re-rolls everything. If you re-roll an ancient legendary item, it may not come back as ancient. On the plus side, if you re-roll a legendary, there is a chance it will be ancient. So it is a complete re-roll of all the stats for that item. It includes primary stats. So if you've got an item that rolled with, say, dexterity, but you need intelligence, you can re-roll it here in order to do so, rather than reforging. Rather than changing it at the Mystic. Now, the plus side to this too is that you will also get rid of any reforges that you've done at the Mystic. You can basically reroll the item fresh. Now again, there's another downside to that. If you've used Radament's Gift, the item that allows you to add sockets, you will lose that. So you want to make sure that you wait until you've maybe reforged an item to use it, because you will lose that extra socket if you do. Other things you can do with the cube. Hope of Cain. You can upgrade a rare item. You can take any rare item with 25 Death Breath, 50 of the whites, 50 blues, 50, so basically 50 of every crafting material other than Forgotten Souls, and you can turn any one of these items into a legendary. So if you have a specific legendary you're looking for, and you found a bunch of the rare type of that weapon, you might be able to get what you want by reforging here at the cube. You can also convert set items. So I'm sure many of you have probably been out there kind of like me, where you've gone out, you've found multiple pieces of a set, now you're starting to find duplicates. Maybe you found 4 out of 6, 5 out of 6. You're so close, you just need one more, and you can never quite find it. You found all of these chest pieces that you don't need anymore. Here you can convert a set item. You take any one piece of the set, 10 Death Breath, 10 Forgotten Souls, and it will convert that set piece into another part of the set. It's random, so you're not guaranteed to get what you want, but it allows you to take duplicates and just turn them into a new one. So it gives you a better chance of finding that 6th piece. Unfortunately, as it says here, a resulting item cannot be ancient. So it's a great way to try and get that set piece, but if you're looking for the ultimate power, you're probably going to still have to gamble or try and find it yourself. The work of Cathan is the removal of a level requirement. This is kind of a meh thing here, but if you've got alts, maybe you ever want to try going into hardcore and you want to level up there, this is one way of taking care of that and giving your lower level characters something that you might want. You take the item, you take a rank 25 Gem of Ease, you put it in there, and the item will no longer have a level requirement, and you can equip it on any level character that you want. Darkness of Radament. This converts gems. This is quite useful, and one feature that the old cube used to let you do, and that was kind of convert gems to different types. So you take 9 of any type of gem, and then any one of these essences here, and they will allow you to turn those 9 gems into a different essence. The essence that you use is the type of gem you'll get. So if you put in an essence of amethyst, so if I put in 9 gems and then an essence of amethyst, I will get 9 amethysts out of that. And as you can see, these are sold by Squirt the Peddler in Act 2. The essences you can get from Squirt under the Miscellaneous tab. They are 500,000 apiece, which is relatively cheap with the amount of gold that a lot of people can get nowadays. So honestly, a small price to pay if you're looking to get a specific type of gem that you need for your build, or say you're maybe forging up your gems and you need more in order to get the final piece that you need. And then lastly, as far as the revealed content is concerned, there is the Anger of Iben Fahd. This converts crafting materials. You can take a normal, magic, or rare crafting material, 100 of those, and then a normal, magic, or rare item with 1 Death Breath, and you will convert it. So it's the same thing as the gem conversion, except for materials. So if, like a lot of people, you've been out there and you're running out of a specific type of material, like you're finding tons of yellows, right? But now you need a bunch of blue magic materials. All you have to do is take whatever you want, any type of material, as long as it's 100 of the thing, and then say, okay, I've got yellows, I need blues. So you put in a blue item. You have to put an item type that you want it to be, and then, of course, a Death's Breath. And then, boom, you convert it to 100 of that type. In this case, I would get 100 of the blue, if I had 100 of these sitting around right now. And that's how that works. Now, I mentioned that those are the revealed recipes. There are 2 more recipes that are kind of hidden from you. Just like, again, the cube from Diablo 2, you can forge portals. You can forge a portal to both the Realm of Greed. So if you've never been there, this is a good chance to get there. Downside is, in order to get to the Realm of Greed, and I was kind of hoping I had one, and I'm not entirely sure I do. To get to the Realm of Greed, you need a puzzle ring. So you put the puzzle ring in, and it converts to a portal to the Realm of Greed. The other thing you can do is you can open up a portal to the not a cow level. So yes, the cow level, getting a cow level through a cube is now once again a thing. And you basically put the bovine Bardisha in there, which I thought I had as well, but apparently I don't. You put that in there, transmute it, boom, portal to the not cow level. So you basically have a way of doing those should you want to, and I just don't have them. I don't believe so. No. No, no, no. Unfortunately, of course, you have to find those items to get those portals, but since those portals can basically open up in the world, you've got an equal amount of chance either way. But there you go. That is a description of what this cube can do for you, and then I'll go back now to the part of the video where I show off how you collect this cube.